And yet again, there's something big happening with Diablo 4. Let's find out what it is this time.
Diablo 4 is getting review bombed. Is that true? How do we know that? Metacritic, game, Diablo. Okay, so it's at 5.2 right now. So let's see. I expected nothing from this game. I'll zoom in so you guys can read it better.
Oh, nice.
Review comes from a long-term Diablo franchise fan. Diablo 2 being most played by me. Loot's boring. Perfectly rolled stuff. Okay, $70. Very predatory, like, surcharge. I think that the very predatory search. I think this is ridiculous. Like, I don't like the idea that people use the word predatory for things that are not predatory. I think that the idea of preying on FOMO is being predatory on the same level as, like, microtransactions that simulate legitimate, like, casino gambling. I find this to be massively stupid, and I think all it does is muddy the waters between what is actually predatory and what people just simply disagree with.
Okay, this is gonna be one of those videos where Asmongold is trying to be smart. Right, so Asmongold fans, you know the drill. Bye-bye, because you're not gonna probably like anything I say after this moment. So Asmongold is absolutely 100% incorrect here. He's not even correct in the slightest here. Predatory exists on different levels. And pre-ordering for early access is definitely predatory. Now, admittedly, where it stands on the predatory chart is kind of at the bottom, but it leads to worse things, you know? Somewhere in the middle, you have the, oh, this is gonna be only in the store for 24 hours, bye, 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 bye. And then at the very top, you have, well, if you don't pay us $50, we will literally delete your account and you can start over with their sweet cheeks after already spending 1K in this account. You know, there's different levels of predatory. And the idea that early access is not predatory is absolutely mind-blowingly incorrect. Obviously, it is predatory. It literally preys on the fact that this is one of the absolutely most anticipated, if not the most anticipated game of 2023 currently. And the people want to play it. The hype about it is real, and the situation, well, some people are going to disagree, but there are a lot of people who, you know, they don't want to play the game after it's already been released for a week and everyone's talking about, oh, I'm enjoying this, I'm enjoying that. You know, it does kind of, it feels bad. And there are a lot of people who don't even want to play the game after it. And that pushes them into buying it. Yeah, this is the least predatory thing that the gaming company can do, but stuff like this is a gateway. Now, I'm sure you have heard this point a million times because, again, this is the best example of showing why things like early access is very, very bad if you're a gamer. Okay, it should just release. Oh, and by the way, I almost forgot. There is a very legitimate part why this is not even an optional buy, but this is a must buy. Because for everyone who wants to get their name signed on the Lilith statue, and there are a lot of people like that, they are forced to buy it. They literally have no other choice than to dish out the 30 extra bucks so they can play it. You know? They don't have a choice. So it is predatory. At least for those people, it's 100% predatory. Because they need this advantage. Without it, they're not going to probably win. So yeah, it's definitely predatory, at least for these people. But now, the point you have probably heard like 100 times. But these things lead to other things, you know? Early access slowly turns into like, oh, what's that? There's a queue for the servers? Well, how about you upgrade to our gold tier server queue Patreon ship or whatever they want to call it. And when you queue up as a gold queuer, you will be first in line. And if you update to our diamond queue system, we will kick someone out of the game so you can play any time that you want. Because stuff like this leads into stuff like that. So, yeah, he's 100% absolutely without question wrong on this. Calling it non-predatory is absolutely stupid.
They're overreacting, and in overreacting and trying to like make their opinion matter more and like make people like, oh, I'm gonna use the buzzword, that way people take me seriously. I think if you...
I love it when people say, buzzwords, 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 oh, it's the buzzword, oh, the buzzword is gonna... Yeah, it's so stupid.
do that too much, number one, it's a boy who cried wolf situation, and number two,
Why?
you also devalue what actual predatory practices are.
No, this is actually fighting predatory practices at the very core, because his opinion is not exactly right. People are gonna overlook it, because again, the predatory business practices are in a scale, and it starts innocent and it goes very non-innocent at the very end. So yeah, people being against this is fighting predatory business practices at the very, very, very beginning. So that's a good thing.
Being able to buy a video game 3 days early is not fucking predatory. If you think that's predatory, like... I think that you have a lot of problems in life, because like every fucking advertising fundamentally is predatory because it's trying to get you to do something that you wouldn't normally do. It's just such a
all advertisement is also fundamentally not predatory, by the way. A great example is, for example, Coca-Cola ads. Coca-Cola is in a situation where it doesn't need to make ads and say, oh, this is our Christmas special, buy, 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 buy. There's only one bottle at your local store and you need to fight in the Gladiators arena to get it. Buy, 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 buy. They don't do it. They don't do it. There are tons of advertisements that are literally just designed to remind you that their product exists. For that situation, when you're in the store, for example, Coca-Cola, and you're like, you know what? I want something to drink, and you don't exist, and you know, it's a sudden thing in your head, you want to drink now, so you're gonna buy something, and you're like, what should I, oh, there's Coca-Cola, right, it exists, yeah, I know that very well, it's a brand that I know, and whatnot. And they don't do predatory, you know, type of advertising like this. There are a lot of brands that don't do predatory advertising. Now, is advertising inherently predatory? Technically, yeah, it's kind of hard to argue against that, but there are tons of advertisements that are not even designed to be predatory because they literally could not care less, because you are going to buy their product already no matter what, because you know it.
Stupid fucking way to think. It's greedy rather than predatory. It matters more for different people. Well, of course it matters more for them, but to say that it's predatory, I think definitely devalues the word. Now,
no,
here
it
are the
doesn't.
things that I find to be predatory. Still bad, in my opinion. I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't. It's 3 days. Like, think about it right now. The game has been out now for, like, over a week. Does anybody give a fuck about this anymore? Absolutely not. Nobody cares. It didn't affect the game anymore. Things have leveled out. It doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. So
I'm not even going to comment on this too much. I'm just going to say this. So, if there is a burglar and he robs you, does the negative effects of being robbed just instantaneously vanish the moment he's done robbing you? Because that's his kind of point. No, that's not his kind of point. That's literally his point. Oh, the thing already ended, so what does it matter? Bruh, if I get stabbed and the stabbing stops, I'm kind of affected after the stabbing stops, you know what I'm saying? This is such an absolutely moronic point.
So in less than 2 weeks after the release of the game, this entire problem has fizzled out. So why are we even talking about it?
Because it matters.
Anyway.
Again, how is the WoW token bad in that case? It got implemented, now it's in the game, well, you can't change anything about it, so why complain about it? This is that type of situation, which he would, by the way, adamantly disagree with. That's still a bad thing. I hate brain damage takes like this so much. It's like, these are fundamental things that the average person should inherently know that are completely incorrect. But Asmongold just goes in the literal direct opposite direction. And he clueless. Absolutely clueless.
Game about rolling another character, give me a try, and interesting, no creativity's allowed. Core mechanic, yeah, I think, yeah, sure, a lot of this is true. This guy rated it a 2. Wow.
That's a
Game
0.
design is a -7 out of 10. Wow. World scaling is the worst part of the game. Never feel powerful unless you have an OP cookie cutter build. The monsters feel like they're stronger and faster than you do. Mob scaling should never only be in multiplayer, but even then it should be a toggle. I agree and I disagree with this. I think it really...
World scaling is stupid, but I don't know if your build is just good. And I build my own builds. I have literally never watched anything online how to make or build in a game. But, you know, I'm kind of just chilling, you know. Level 62. The leveling is bad, though. That's 100% sure. Leveling is super slow. And Blizzard is nerfing everything that's found good for leveling. And for what reason? None. Dungeons currently feel like it's a 15-minute walk where you encounter like 2 rare mobs. Obviously, it's a bit more than that, but that's what it feels like. And they are nerfing everything with good XP. Not doing the opposite what they should be doing. Buffing dungeons that are not that good with experience so they are compatible. It's so stupid. The leveling takes such an unbelievably long time. And they're nerfing all the good places where you can level. It's just mind-blowing, honestly. How can you do something so bad?
Kind of depends. Skill tree is a stripped twig. I wish there were more skill options, but again...
They're gonna add them later.
This is a problem that, like, Diablo, like, some, like, ARPG serious players have. Is, like, a lot of these people are coming from, like, PoE or, like, Last Epoch. That are more complex. Diablo 4 is not meant to be very complex. That's not the design. That's not the goal. So if you go and you play, it's just like, it's like you go and you play, for example, I don't know, like Apex Legends, and you're mad that it doesn't have the complexity of Tarkov. Well, yeah, that's because it's not trying to do that.
Yep.
For ARPG Andes, yeah, exactly. Like, I think that...
The skill tree could be a little bit more interesting, but it's not, like, a bad thing. No, you know, it's not bad. For example, a lot of these negative comments are literally coming from Diablo 2 hardcore fanboys, which are idiots, you know? Literally idiots, most of the time. And, well, the Diablo 2 skill tree also was not hard at all. You just picked a skill, leveled it, and... guess what you did when you maxed it out? Well, you leveled the thing that gave it a bonus. That's what you did. Super simple. Not even a question.
Yeah, it's just like, it's such an insane thing to say that Diablo 4 is a 2 out of 10.
True.
Like,
True.
Okay, so if Diablo 4 is a 2 out of 10, like, what is... I mean, like, let me think of, like, some other games. Like, what about all of these other games that just came out? Like, what's Forspoken? What's
didn't play it,
Gollum?
didn't see it. Gollum is a 10 out of 10 because that game has... You know, there's this point when your scale is like 1 being bad and 10 being really good. Gollum is so bad it inverts the scale, and now Gollum is a 10 out of 10 because how unbelievably bad the experience is. The game literally comes out with an apology before you play it, saying that, yeah, this is gonna be garbage, I'm sorry you bought this, but it is what it is, kid. You can't make that up! Gollum is a 10 out of 10 because it's on the inverted scale at this moment because how bad it is.
What's D3?
0.
Like, it's just, like, again, these people are just giving it... What's Redfall, right? Like, you're just giving it these, like, massively low ratings because it doesn't fulfill what you want the game to be. Which is, like, that's totally fine. You can...
That's kind of stupid, though, at one hand, you know? If the game is not what you wanted it to be, well, you know, didn't you, like... You had so many abilities to actually see and check if the game is gonna be what it is for you. But they didn't. That's kind of strange. Admittedly, you know, it's currently kind of interesting, because at the very start, before the game really released... The opinions were like roughly, well, it's going to be a 7 or an 8, you know? Probably an 8-ish, but is it a 9 out of 10? Probably not. Is it a 10 out of 10? Definitely not, you know? But no one really was calling it like a 5 out of 10 or whatever. But now that we have played it, yeah, my rating was a 7 or 8 out of 10. Now that the game is out, after everything that Blizzard has done, after everything that we have seen, the game is a 6 out of 10 for most people, I feel like, nowadays. After playing it enough, there's nothing really special about the game. There's nothing really, like, superb about the game. It's a good game, but, you know, I would say it's at max currently a 6 out of 10. And for some people who are playing the cookie-cutter builds, and when Blizzard literally just decides to absolutely nerf you into the ground and make your playstyle completely invalid and nerf you to not being able to kill a basic mob anymore, just because reasons? Just because they couldn't balance the game in the first place? Yeah, I see how those people would call it a 5 out of 10 even. So yeah.
Give it a low rating, but you have to be honest.
But it's definitely not a 4 out of 10.
Let's look at what he's saying. I'd actually like to see a little bit more skill tree stuff too, personally. Feels like main source of your power. I think that's true. Tier 3 felt terrible until you get past your first glyph. That's not the way that I felt about it, but I can see why he feels this way. Also, I'm playing a very good build.
Yeah, he completely said that right. Getting to World Tier 3, for some people, is... What the hell is this ad? Oh, I thought it's like a chastity chest. Okay, wow. I am corrupt. Anyway... Is that not? No, that's not a chastity chest belt. Is it called a chest or a belt? Whatever. That's not it. But man, my eyes just saw something else here, boys. I'm not gonna lie. In any case, but I would not be surprised if it is an actual ad like that. Like, we live in the society, okay? But yeah, he is completely right about going to World Tier 3. My build is super strong. I'm technically immortal with the Necromancer, okay? My Blood Mist has a 0 second cooldown on average. And a 90% reduction from all damage taken. Which is hilarious. But anyway, other builds, yeah. If you're playing a bad build and you go to Tier 3 and you don't have the sacred items, yeah, I can see how people hate that if their build is not that good. I definitely can see it.
It's cooldown Y, mounts get stuck on everything, so
true.
mounts close to your character. This is absolutely fucking true, okay?
Mounts get stuck on everything is
they
so
slow down
bad.
If your mouse is close to your character, and if you click and hold and slide your mouse over your action, Taurus will slowly stop walking, even though you never let go of your mouse button. The way that the mount is designed is fucking garbage. The truth is that I don't understand why they can't just steal Lost Ark's system.
Yep.
Just take what Lost Ark does and then just do that.
Yep, Lost Ark has a good mount system.
The like random barriers that they put in the open world. Why the fuck would a player want to? They're riding from point A to.
I also hate them, but I actually see them as good game design because it's supposed to break up the monotonacy. You know, if you're just riding, it will get a monotonous, but if you're forced to dismount and take out the barrier and start fighting, you know, it's a change of pace. It's a change of scenery, if you will, and that's good.
To point B, why the fuck would a player want to stop riding, get off of their mount, to kill a wall and 2 skeleton archers? Who the fuck wants to do that?
Usually there's more.
It's just stupid. Like, it's not fun. It's fucking annoying. Why are we being annoyed? Why is it immersion? What do you mean immersion?
Should we go on 1.2?
It's an undead.
There we go.
You don't see those out the dead. Oh, maybe you go down, you live in LA or Austin, you got the people on fentanyl. That's
American General.
These are actually undead. Totally fucking different, man. Yeah, Portland, there you go. I just don't get it, man. Loot has the worst stats to choose from. I agree with this. I think the core stats are... I agree with him on this, absolutely. Back in...
Yeah, close, vulnerable. Yeah. Crit damage. This was one of the big things I was worried about. That the stats are going to work exactly as in D3. You want attack speed, you want crit damage, and you literally don't care about anything else.
Diablo 3, it felt so good to get crit damage, crit chance, and attack speed because they synergized with each other. Now, the stats don't synergize with each other at all. And it doesn't feel good. You guys see what I'm saying? Like, am I the only person that feels that way? This butt plugs? I don't know what the fuck this is, but it looked pretty weird. Anyway, it's a hassle. Legendary.
Oh, that's his ad, right. Whew.
not better than rares, as rares can become legendaries spend your time farming it. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't think the gearing in this problem is that big of an issue. I have 700k gold, I have a repair of 150k. Decide if you want to vendor your items or salvage them. I don't think this is a big deal. If you're like, I mean, how are you not able to keep up with gold costs?
Yeah, if you want, gold can be a problem if you're like extracting essence from, I don't know, like 20 items in an instant. But the average two-hander sells for like 20k in the shop, okay? You go out, do one dungeon, go sell all the items that you have at the vendor for gold, and, well, congratulations, you kind of got everything you want.
Casual ability, the game is very anti-casual. It takes so much time to do anything if you're not OP dungeons. Take forever, combat takes forever, gearing up to the next world takes forever. Average play.
This is good for casuals, though. I think the average casual... Previously, I thought that the average casual is not going to make it to level 80. No, that's an that is an overestimate. The average casual player is not going to get probably even to 65, honestly. You know, I'm not a casual player, but I'm 62 currently, okay? Admittedly, I'm not doing dungeons. I'm doing, like, quests, honestly. I have done, like, 90% of the quests. So, yeah, it's a bit different for me. But the average person, the average player, is not going to experience, you know, the end game as it is. Like, World 3, getting to World Tier 4 is going to be that literal end game.
Player will not reach the end capstone before the end season without being carried. They tried to take a system like Lost Ark where there's a tier that you level through to reach the next level. You have to do it all over again. I don't really think that's true.
That is definitely true. I actually didn't ever think about it like this, but yeah. The moment you bump up to World Tier 3, you have the sacred item drops. The moment you bump up to World Tier 4, you get new drop unlocks. Literally items you have never seen before, and they are in a new item level power range, which literally will completely beat out your previous tier by X. So yeah, it is actually a Lost Ark type of tiering.
Yeah, I don't think that's true at all. I don't really with anything this guy's saying. I think that he makes a very good point with the itemization, and I think he also makes a very good point with the mounts. I think both of these are extremely strong points. Uniques only drop from tier 3 and 4. Really, World Tier 3 and 4 suck for the average player with the average build. I feel like this person, like, the more that I read their review,
they're just bad at the game.
Just read this. They wrote this review after they kept getting killed in, like, the tier 3 dungeon. Or, like, the tier 3 capstone dungeon. Like, I really just think, like, you have a bad build. And it's like every ARPG.
I think what Stoops said is the biggest true thing ever. That the void between level 60 and 70 is just absolutely unbearable. Because you can barely get any new upgrades at that point, and all that matters is literally experience until you can get to World Tier 4. That's it. That's literally it. That's the game for you now currently. It's just that. And it's kind of stupid. And that's, you know, that he made a very good point about it. Because until you reach the next world tier, which is going to take forever, considering Blizzard is literally nerfing all of the experience hotspots currently, well, it doesn't feel too rewarding to play, honestly.
Allows you to have a bad build. Like Diablo 3, you had bad builds. Like, that's the way it is. Like, you get better. Yeah, he's playing a Druid, exactly. Like, what the fuck? Like, I remember I played PoE, and it's like, is that a problem? Well, I don't know. Maybe it is. Like, I think that it is. I think it's a legitimate problem. Like, I think Barbarian and Druid gameplay pre-50 is actually bad, and it's not fun, and Blizzard should make it better.
Yeah,
I don't like the idea that Barbarians and Druids should have to play a worse version of the game just in order to enjoy the same thing that the other three classes get to enjoy from level 1.
Necromancer corpses were bugged for at least a week. Half of them didn't do anything when you clicked on them, so if your build involved corpses, congratulations. Your life is not gonna be good because half the corpses were actually duds that didn't do anything when you clicked on them. And by the way, Blizzard, when I click summon skeleton, I literally could not care less which corpse was used up to summon it. I just want it summoned and I want it now. Okay? Anywhere on the screen is fine. I don't want to aim my summon skeleton on a corpse. Especially when I'm using Corpse Explosion with the shadow damage and my whole screen is black because the thing overlaps and you can't see anything on the ground. Blizzard, please!
It's just not fun. Strauss Druid is strong? Yeah, it is now because it's level 100. Well, I'm talking about like at the beginning.
I'm gonna probably
Because
play
it costs 5
Storm
get
Druid.
boosted 1 to 50 with capstone included. I have no idea how much it is. It's a problem if you have to pay for trying new builds. If you have to, like, come on. Like, if you're level 50 to 60, you're not spending that much on respecs. Like, I mean...
Yeah, respec roughly costs 1/3 of your gold at any point, I think.
I just, like, I wish I could see people, like, I wish I could see them play the game. You have to say, like, yeah, like...
A lot of this criticism does sound like you're a bad player, though, honestly. That you are below the average player. Because the average player's build is going to be okay-ish. You know, it's not going to be a cookie-cutter, you know, super mega ultra S tier. But it's not going to be that bad. And a lot of this criticism falls under the category, as I see it, as, well, you're actually kind of a super bad player, honestly, it looks like. Again, a normal player shouldn't struggle that much with switching from World Tier 2 to World Tier 3.
Gold cost does not really matter. You get so much gold. Yeah, I think so. Like, respec cost isn't a problem. Yeah, I really wish I could watch these people play the game. Also, doing for only thing a game is ability to skip campaign. I've cleared it. Keeping important rewards. Paragon. 20 Paragons will use running all to 50, but not have the map uncovered. Not have waypoints. Yeah, I think this is absolutely everything should be completely account wide with no restrictions. As I've said before, I am an advocate of making all.
Wait, actually, not true. Actually, not true. The map should be uncovered between all characters. 100% true. Statues, everything, waypoints, everything. If you make a new character and you decide to skip the story, it should all be uncovered, in my opinion. You know? 100%, no questions asked. But Paragon should not be shit. Paragon should not be shit, you know? Start new character, get level 50, start Paragoning. Paragon should not carry over. Because that kind of will completely kill the want of people to actually play the game if the Paragon is carried over, right? Because without the Paragon, what type of, without the Paragon, what type of progression do you actually have for your character? What type of reward are you gonna get when you make a new character? Probably none.
All gear in World of Warcraft completely account-wide with no restrictions on trading whatsoever. That's how much I think account-wide is better for the game. I actually think that I would enjoy the game more. Because, like, I don't really base it off of, like, what's fair or what's not fair. I look at, so, to me, I only use one frame of reference. Would this cause me to play the game more? And if the answer to that is yes, then it's a good idea.
Yep.
And if the answer is no,
True.
it's a bad idea. And it's actually just that fucking simple. That's it. Soulbound after being equipped is a must? No, it's not. There's no reason for that. And it's the same with the having the waypoints and the map uncovered.
I don't know about Soulbound,
if you like
though.
a build and it's almost unusable, is a good game design.
Don't have an opinion on that, though.
So, there's always going to be a spectrum of power level. You can't expect every single ability to do...
Wow, look at how bad Asmongold's videos are on 1.25 speed. It's insanity. It's like, wow.
Do the exact same damage. Like, in terms of, like, theory crafting. Because if you did that, the game would have to be super boring. And it wouldn't be fun to play. Because there'd be no real variance in the game. Everything would just be basically Fireball and Shadow Bolt. The only difference would just be the color of the spell.
Yeah.
So, you're always going to have a disparity. I think the problem is whenever the disparity is too big. I feel like in almost every single RPG, there are certain builds that are just way...
You know what? I'm gonna just give you the super hot take. I don't think any of these discussions matter for Diablo 4. Because at some point, the developers are gonna give up and they're gonna implement rune words and set items. And the moment they do that, Diablo 4 is just gonna be a reskin of Diablo 3, and it's gonna be a hot garbage dumpster fire that no one really wants to play anymore because it's stupid, you know? That's my hot take. There's no point in arguing with anything currently, honestly, because they're just gonna ruin the game at some point, because they are gonna give up. They are gonna implement rune words, or they're gonna implement set items, or both, and the game is gonna be just gone. The game is gonna be gone. You know, from a 6 or 5 out of 10, it's gonna be 2 or 3 out of 10. That's how it's gonna happen, and they're gonna give up. I think they're gonna, at some point, they are gonna give up and do it.
Way better than other builds. That's just the way the game is. Like, and it's just common sense, right? Like, for example, like...
It's not common sense, it's just common sense in Blizzard games, because show me a game that Blizzard has actually balanced. It doesn't exist. Blizzard in 20 years has never made PvP actually balanced. Not even Overwatch PvP was balanced, you know? Some comps, some classes were literally just dominating the scene, and always are, you know? Blizzard is never gonna balance anything. So if a game's value is going to be based on balancing, Blizzard should not even attempt it, because they have failed at it for 20 years straight now.
Let me think. One of the best weapons in medieval warfare, my understanding, is his fucking spear. And I'm pretty sure a spear is like better than most other weapons, just
that is true.
By default. Just because of the way that it's a fucking, you poke them with a stick and they can't get to you. It's so like, what the fuck?
That's actually, well, that's semi-true. The reason the spear was the most effective weapon in medieval times is because it's literally a stick you sharpen one part of, and congratulations, you can get a lot of them in a very short time. Making a sword for everyone, now that takes a very, very, very long time, but a spear requires less training, and it's literally all around you at the medieval times. So he's actually right about that. The spears were super effective at the medieval times because they were so easy.
So it's obviously better. But you still have, you know, like you had gladiators using a trident and a net. You had them using a gladius and a buckler, stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
but that was for show, though.
Use? I think so, yeah. Easy to use, easy to make. True, it's not even close either. Yeah.
Yep.
So, like, you're always going to have this because this is just, like, it's real life. It's the same as, like, in Dark Souls. Like, you can play through the game, and you can use,
Jeez, should we make this a two-part then?
But the problem is that, number one, if you make a game easy enough to beat with the longsword, that means that anybody...
I kind of feel we have honestly gone through literally all of the things that we want to talk about. After it's, you know, it's the first post, it's the biggest post. The posts are going to just be repeats of each other, right?
Who plays with... It's very hard to balance everything in the game, and you can never really expect that. See, compared to its other contemporary games. I think it's just about as hard as Diablo 3. I think it's easier than Path of Exile. I think that it's easier than Lost Ark. And by the way, I think it is, like, astronomically easier than Lost Ark. Like, think of...
He's talking about Diablo 4, yeah. Dude, there's not a single Lost Ark player who is even remotely calling any boss in this game hard. There's none. Again, if you have played Path of Exile and you have been even remotely successful, and I mean, like, you know, Voltan comes out and you only do him when you have all the upgrades from the next tier, you know, if you're on that level in Lost Ark, which is, by the way, one of the lowest skill levels that you can be on, you're still gonna just blast through Diablo 3 because not a single boss has more than 2 mechanics. And they are so slow, so choreographed, there is no overlap in mechanics. There's not a single person who has played Lost Ark and is ever gonna say that even a single one of the bosses is hard. No one is gonna say that. It's absolute a joke. Well, admittedly, Path of Exile is the same joke. You know, there's only that guy who summons the balls that go and, you know, do things. And that's the only skill check in the entire game. It's hilarious. Yeah, so there is no complexity. Combat-wise, there's no complexity in Diablo 4. There's no complexity in Diablo 3. There's no complexity in Path of Exile. There's no complexity in Lost Epoch. All of these games don't have any combat complexity to them at all. From the perspective of literally any Lost Ark player. I think even a Lost Ark player who has just done the first not story boss fights, but, you know, item level like 200, you know, literally the first dungeons. The first dungeons that you can do, that you can rinse and repeat one time a week for rewards. Yeah, those. even a person who in Lost, who has done just those in Lost Ark, will look at anything in any other game like Diablo 4 or PoE as an absolute joke. That there is literally no complexity. That there is literally nothing in there. It's just stank and spank from beginning to the end. But I think that's where we're going to end this video, because again, it should be just rehashes of already made points. Because, you know, all 10 out of 10s are the same, all 2 out of 10s are also sadly the same. It is what it is. Anyway, this was Citizen. Thanks for watching, subscribe, haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye!